Welcome back to Creative Mathematics and Coding using CodeWorld. You're at Unit 1, Lesson 1, Part 2. In the previous part, we ended by playing the description game, where you had to describe a simple picture and your partner reproduced that picture using only your description. Let's talk about what we learned. The first thing you might have noticed is that exact descriptions are really hard. I'll bet your partner didn't draw exactly the same picture as you did. Maybe they drew something too large, or in the wrong place, or misunderstood you entirely. That's normal. When we talk to each other, we rely a lot on a shared understanding. Communicating using only the text of your words can be really difficult. The second thing you might have learned is that mistakes are really easy to make. When you're trying to describe something precisely, you'll almost never get it right the first time, and that's okay. Instead of feeling bad about your mistakes, the trick is to realize that everyone makes them. So what's important is not that you made the mistake, but how you fix it afterwards. Maybe you thought a little bit more about the task of describing pictures and realized that it's important to use measurements and numbers. For example, instead of saying big, you might say 7 centimeters. That's much more precise, and your partner knows exactly what you mean. And you might have realized you need to be extra careful with the size of your shapes, their position on the page, and what angle you draw them at. These are really important details when you're describing a picture precisely. Now let's take a look at how writing in code helps you with this precision and care. When you write your code, think of it like you're writing a dictionary or a glossary, telling the computer exactly what every word means. In this example, you're defining the word program to tell the computer exactly what program you want. The words that you define are called variables, and the statements that define them, equations. You might remember from math that an equation tells you that two numbers are the same. But in CodeWorld, we can write equations not just with numbers, but with all kinds of things. We'll write equations about pictures, colors, numbers, text, and even whole computer programs like we're doing here. On the right side of the equal sign, you'll describe what the program is. To do that, you'll use something called a function. This function, drawing of, tells the computer that you want a simple program that just shows you a picture. But not just any picture, so you need to provide more details about the program that you want. These details are called arguments. Arguments go inside a pair of matching parentheses after the name of the function. And they provide all the detail to let the computer know precisely what it is that you want. Another way to think about a function is that it's like a machine. You put in the details about what you'd like, and you get out the finished product. In this case, the input to this machine drawing of is a picture, the CodeWorld logo. What comes out is the computer program that shows you a drawing of that logo. But if the only thing CodeWorld could do is draw its own logo, it would be pretty boring. So now it's time to write your own code and create a program of your own design. Today, your program will be a drawing of a name tag that you designed to represent you. But if you try to run this program, you'll run into difficulties. You get this error message, variable not in scope, name tag picture. Remember, an error message is the computer telling you, I don't know what you mean. In this case, we've asked for a drawing of a name tag, but the computer doesn't know what a name tag is. That's a new word, so we'll start a new line of our program and write a second equation to define the variable called name tag. That looks like this. Name tag equals, and then an expression after the equal sign that tells you what this name tag should look like. Let's learn some of the building blocks you can use to put your name tag together. The function text lets you take letters or words and draw them on the screen. The argument to the text function is just exactly the text you'd like to see inside of quotation marks. The function called circle draws a circle on the screen, The argument to the circle function inside those parentheses is the radius of the circle, that is, the distance from the center of the circle to the edge. And the rectangle function lets you draw a rectangle on the screen. The two arguments to the rectangle function inside its parentheses are the width and the height of the rectangle. Because rectangle needs more than one argument, you'll put a comma between these numbers. And finally, an interesting name tag would put together more than one of these shapes. The and sign, which you type with Shift and 7, lets you combine several pictures together. And just says, take these two pictures and produce a picture by laying one on top of the other. In your name tag, put together text, circles, and rectangles in whatever pattern you like. Take a look at these examples for inspiration. Every one of these programs was built out of text, circles, and rectangles combined using that AND operator. Since you're building something of your own, you might like to save it when you're done. To do that, click the Sign In button in the bottom left corner of your screen. Choose a Google account. Your school account might work. Now let's go ahead and get started. Type program equals drawing of name tag, and then on the next line, define name tag with an equal sign and type your own code here. When you're finished, just choose Save As, enter a name for your project, and click the blue Save button. Your project now appears on the left side of the screen where you can open it later on. Now it's your turn. Play around with text, circles, rectangles, and combine them using the AND sign to make your own creative name tag and see what you can come up with. See you next time.